Welcome to the third dimension. Israel began to attack Iran Friday, June the 13th, targeting nuclear and military facilities and killing top military commanders and nuclear scientists, claiming Iran was on the verge of developing nuclear weapons. The war quickly escalated, with Iran retaliating with missile and drone strikes, while insisting that its nuclear program is intended solely for peaceful purposes. Iran, which has spent decades nurturing a network of well-armed proxies to expand its influence in the region and shield itself from direct military confrontation, now finds itself on its own in the war that Israel had long been preparing to launch. International calls for de-escalation and a European diplomatic push have had little impact on the air war raging between Israel and Iran. Moreover, while the region has been left waiting to see whether the United States decides to join the fight, Washington launched surprise strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities Saturday evening, with President Trump calling them a spectacular military success. Iran confirmed the strike, saying that the United States move is outrageous and will have everlasting consequences. Observers say the dramatic US strike marks the biggest foreign policy gamble of Trump's 2 presidencies, and one fraught with risks and unknowns. To discuss this topic, I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Abdullah Homouda. Mr. Homouda is an expert in international relations and a senior Middle East analyst. Mr. Homouda, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, now if we start with this now, what was the Israeli calculus or calculations in launching war against Iran?
Unfortunately, Israel has escalated the killing field from Gaza and the West Bank to Iran, to reach Iran, with the support of the United States, and in a way that creates a havoc, danger in the whole region, in order to try and set an example for any state in the region who could dare to stand in the face of Israel and punish Iran for its support for the Palestinian cause. The issue in question is that this takes place while there is no Arabic solid opposition apart from the kind of expression of indignation, and without any effective approach to try and stand by any party to try and stop Israel. Israel effectively wanted to establish its supremacy in the Middle East and to be number 1 in managing the country, the region's affairs.
Let me ask you before, how did you assess the Iranian response to the Israeli airstrikes?
Well, to start with, it happened about 8 days ago.
Yeah.
The Iranian response was effective. They did not use the old, slow, smaller-headed missiles which they used in the last year. Now they have used much more effective missiles with larger warheads, and they achieved destruction within Israel and created a different estimation and appreciation of the Iranian capabilities.
Yeah.
Israel used that, and we all know that all the media reports from Israel are subject to very strict censorship to create a message that Israel is a victim, and obviously that has covered over the attention which was given to what was going in Gaza as a war against humanity and starvation, and forcing the people of Gaza to leave their land. Unfortunately, the United States was with Israel all the way towards creating this kind of situation which promotes Israel's hegemony in the Middle East as a tool of the United States force. And I believe that the Trump visit to Gulf countries has contributed to that.
I see. Okay, so this brings us now to the American intervention in this war, Mr. Abdullah. Okay, so when everybody was just waiting for Trump because he gave what they call a 2-week deadline for a potential US intervention, okay, we were just surprised, like many people around the world, by the US strikes today, okay. So the question is, was it expected to happen too soon, Mr. Abdullah?
Yes, actually, if you look at the 2 weeks deadline, it has come after the 2 weeks deadline.
Yes.
But Israel started exactly at the 2 weeks deadline, which indicates that Israel is working hand in gloves with the United States as partner in this. And people were anticipating what Israel could do after the damage caused by the Iranian missiles in the occupied land, only to find that Trump has come directly and openly to do that, against the expectation of number of international parties, including the Russia and China actually as well. But what happened now? What happens now shows that Trump from day one was willing to get into participation with Israel in the war directly. What was said about that was still being said, but the American Vice President that America does not want war with Iran or want to continue with the negotiation is only a part of what you may call a strategic deception.
I see. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so and in fact the Irani foreign minister today in Turkey, when he was giving a press conference commenting on the US strikes, he said it was the US and Israel who betrayed diplomacy, and this is in line with what you... Okay. Now, if I may ask in the same point, Mr. Abdullah, how do you think the United States intervention, move would fuel what we call a wider conflict in the Middle East?
Well, this has been a dangerous scenario which people have been thinking of for a long time. The intervention of the United States and the scale of the bombing which took place earlier at dawn today has prompted Iran to announce the mining and the stopping of navigation in the Arabian Gulf.
Yeah.
This is part of some kind of vision of what Iran could do.
Yeah.
And the second point within that vision was that Iran could withdraw from the prevention of the spread of nuclear weapons treaty.
Yeah.
I don't think this the second will be enough at this stage. But even if Iran was not keen on having a nuclear bomb, I think the only thing which could stop that bombing now and come to kind of agreement and save Iran from further attack is for Iran, if they have enriched enough uranium right now, and they have the experience, they could assemble a nuclear bomb of what sort, and they have already the missile system which can carry any bomb of that kind, and announce that they have the bomb. If Iran could come to a decision of that kind, I think this is the only way which could stop the war right now.
Okay. Now, another scenario that observers said that Iran could push its proxies in the region, okay, to start also launching missiles against American ships. And here let me stick to the Houthis, okay? And interesting that yesterday the Houthis announced that they would target US ships in the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea if the United States attacked Iran. How possible is that, Mr. Homouda?
I think that is a possibility. The Houthis have made life miserable for the Israelis for some time. The missiles which they launched were not as effective as should be, but it was more effective than what Israel has admitted happening. They could target the American ships. They have nothing to lose or less to lose than America. But if it is only restricted to American ships and what they can reach, that will need a system of intelligence gathering good enough to target American ships, which can be effective in bringing the Americans to make a decision. But the problem is that if they target American interests in some Arab countries, because American bases in some Gulf countries are known on the map, if they target that, they risk losing the support and creating problem with fellow Arab countries. And I think America and Israel bank on that to try and create more friction in the region.
Okay. So another important issue within this debate, Mr. Abdullah, is the Arab world's position, okay? As a senior person in this issue, how do you see the Arab world navigating this conflict?
Unfortunately, this is a very difficult question at this moment because of the lack of kind of clear information. And despite the too much noise in the media and in the political field, very little of this information can be considered to build a scenario. But in general, I think there is an absence of any Arab effect to try and work on that. There are some Arabs who are smiling in silence with what is happening to Iran, and there are others who are really sad, because they know that eliminating any threat from Iran is just step one in the Israeli hegemony in the Middle East, and the Arabs will come under that kind of effect in the future, one by one or in collection.
Okay. You mentioned earlier, Mr. Abdullah, the position of Russia and China. How do you assess the position of Russia and China, especially when these two countries enjoy strategic partnership with Iran?
If you talk about Russia and China, then we come to a point of whether this situation is bringing the world to a brink of a third world war. And this is extremely dangerous. Everyone is trying to avoid it. No one knows what the outcome could be. China and Russia have their own interests, and they will try as much as possible to stop the escalation in the Middle East. But Russia is involved in the Ukraine, and China is interested more in the South China Sea and bringing in some kind of influence on Taiwan, at some stage returning it to the mainland as part of China as a whole. They have their own calculations, they have their own relationship, including conflicts and issues of concern with the United States, but they may exert a degree of pressure. But to be honest, the Middle East is not a high priority for them in as much as it is a high priority for the United States, because the Arabs themselves have accepted to be proteges and the protectors of the United States, and it is very dangerous to be under the protection of the protector of your enemy.
Okay. A final point, if you may, Mr. Abdullah. Okay. How do we go from here now?
How do
we go from here amidst all these tensions and escalation? What do you see in the horizon?
It is very dangerous, and the other parties do not have so many cards in their hand. I will return to the point which I mentioned. I think the only way to stop this at this stage is for the Iranians, despite their announcement of the immorality of having a nuclear weapon, that they try to assemble from the good enriched uranium they have a quick nuclear device, and announce that they could use it if America and Israel continue to bomb them.
Okay. With this, we come to the end of this interview, Mr. Abdullah. Thank you so much for your time and insight, and thank you for talking to Yemen Today TV.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all for this time. See you next week with a new edition of The Third Dimension.